Mr. Joe Schmo, go break the law, sir, and then post about it on the internet with your face and name attached to the account. Good morning, gamers. Today we're going to be talking about multi-burst trigger activators, the FRTs, binaries, the bumpy boys. Well, after the forced reset triggers got ruled legal, or the ATF was told by the Fifth Circuit to stop enforcing the ban on FRTs and they are not machine guns, well, after that happened, I got a lot of questions about, are these legal in the state of California? Can I get one in the state of California? The one I currently have in the state of California, can I take it outside now without fear of my dog getting shot? Well, today we're going to answer that question. We're going to look at the law that is relevant here, and it is something that if you have an FRT, be mindful of this. If you have a binary trigger, definitely be mindful. If you have a bump stock, definitely be mindful. We're going to be talking about a few things here today. I'm going to be reading some stuff from my computer, so I'll have that up over the screen so you can see it as well as we read along and learn together. Before we get going though, if you want to say thank you to me, like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz, it does help. Double check that you are subscribed. A lot of people lately have been saying that they have not been seeing my videos and then they find out that they got unsubscribed, so that's cool. If you want to use any of the links in the description, that will help me as well. Got pre-workout down there, got some sort of other stuff, a lot of things down there. Just go check it out, let me know. So first we need to just determine a few things. One, what is illegal? How illegal is it? And then what is the definition of that thing? So if you look at Penal Code 16590 Q, a multi-burst trigger activator as prohibited. So that is a generally prohibited weapon. So we've established that multi-burst trigger activators are illegal. If we then look at the penal code for the offenses for it, except as provided in chapter 1, whatever, any person who manufactures, causes to be manufactured, imports into the state, keeps for sale, or offers for, or exposes for sale, or who gives, lends, or possesses any multi-burst trigger activator is punishable by imprisonment in a county jail not to exceed 1 year of imprisonment pursuant to whatever. So you can go to jail for a year in the state of California for possessing one of these multi-burst trigger activators. Now, what the hell is a multi-burst trigger activator? Well, there's a few types of multi-burst trigger activators. Now, as used in this part, a multi-burst trigger activator means either of the following: a device designed or redesigned, attached to, built into, or used in conjunction with a semi-automatic firearm, which allows the firearm to discharge 2 or more shots in a burst by activating the device, or a manual or power-driven trigger activating device constructed and designed so that when attached to, built into, or used in conjunction with a semi-automatic firearm, increases the rate of firearm of that firearm. The rate of fire of that firearm. So that first section of 16930 basically covers your binary triggers. So it allows a burst by activating the device. So it's pretty simple. A multi-burst trigger activator, and then the second part is the one that we're kind of concerned with. A multi-burst trigger activator includes, but is not limited to, any of the following devices. A device that uses a spring, piston, or similar mechanism to push back against the recoil of a firearm, thereby moving the firearm in a back and forth motion and facilitating the rapid reset and activation of the trigger by a stationary finger. These devices are commonly known as bump stocks, bump fire stocks, or bump fire attachments. So if you have a bump stock in the state of California, no you don't. Stop telling me that. Stop leaving the comments in the description, or leaving comments saying that you own one with your name as your Google profile. Stop doing that, please. Now, the other option is a device placed within the trigger guard of a firearm that uses a spring to push back against the recoil of the firearm, causing the finger in the trigger guard to move back and forth and rapidly activate the trigger. These are commonly known as burst triggers. So FRT, not really quite that either. The bump stock one was pretty obvious. It's about bump stocks. A mechanical device that activates the trigger of the firearm in rapid succession by turning a crank. These devices are commonly known as trigger cranks, gat triggers, or trigger actuators. So I think VSO Gun Channel did a video of that pistol grip that activated a crank. That would be illegal. There's also the ones that just spin inside the trigger guard itself, and that would be illegal in the state of California. And then any aftermarket trigger or trigger activator that, if installs, allows more than one round to be fired with a single depression of the trigger. So that covers the binary triggers. So it says included and not limited to in B, but then A2, we'll talk about that in a second. So B1 covers things like bump stocks. B2 covers things like the burst triggers with a spring or piston inside, that kind of thing. Number 3 covered the GAT cranks and the Gatling type trigger activators. And then number 4 is the binary triggers, because a binary trigger fires one round for the pull, one round for the release. Do not have those in the state of California. Now, because it says includes but not limited to, the section of A2 is really what we need to pay attention to, where it says a manual or power-driven trigger activating device constructed and designed so that when attached to, built into, or used in conjunction with a semi-automatic firearm, it increases the rate of fire of that firearm. So if rate of fire, because rate of fire is not determined or defined anywhere, if rate of fire means how fast you as an individual can shoot, basically any drop in trigger could potentially be considered increasing the rate of fire, right? Because it's a trigger activating device constructed and designed so that when attached to, built into, it's kind of tough, because could any one of these springs be considered a trigger activating device? So lighter springs in your gun, that's kind of on the fringe end of not really super relevant. So if rate of fire increase means that on average a person could pick this firearm up, and we're assuming we're talking about FRTs at this point. So if you pick up a force reset trigger equipped firearm, do you shoot that faster at a faster rate than if it doesn't have the FRT? Maybe, probably. I would be willing to wager that you don't shoot faster than someone with an FRT. But does rate of fire mean the cyclic rate of the firearm? Does rate of fire mean pull the trigger, round, fires, extracts, ejects, loads new round in, locks in place? Is that the rate at which it fires when the next round is fired? Because in theory, a forced reset trigger steals some energy away from the reciprocating mass that is doing the unlocking, extracting, loading, and locking mechanism. Because when it comes back, part of the force reset trigger interacts with the bolt carrier group, locking the trigger forward, and then when the bolt closes, it again pushes on that. So in theory, the actual cycling time could be slower. But really what we really need to know here is this. The DOJ, the California Department of Justice, is likely of the opinion that if you got busted with one of these, that they would charge you with a multi-burst trigger activator device. Now, that being said, I know a lot of people ordered these in the state of California. I know a lot of people were very open about them owning them in the state of California. On YouTube, on Facebook, on Reddit, on various forums, people were posting about purchasing them online, them coming to the state of California, and then using them and installing them in the state of California. Big Daddy Unlimited, I'm not going to say RIP, because when I say that, I mean in piss. Big Daddy Unlimited was selling these triggers to people in the state of California. The DOJ didn't go after them, and they were advertising that pretty heavily. So it's kind of tough. Whether you, now I'm not a lawyer, not legal advice, whether you are comfortable purchasing a rare breed FRT or a knockoff device that's similar in the state of California, that's going to be entirely up to you. Would I recommend you do that? No, I'm not going to recommend you do that. I'm going to recommend you look into this for yourself and determine whether or not you want to do whatever it is you want to do. I'm not going to tell you how to live your life. So I hope this was informative about how it is, in fact, a gray area. But at least I hope you understand now why this ambiguous sentence that basically just says, is it a device that makes a semi-auto gun increase the rate of fire, but then never define rate of fire and how you determine that? Cool. I hope we at least now understand what it is that we should be concerned about. Whether or not you follow these laws is up to you. Whether or not you believe they should be laws in the first place, that's up to you. Personally, I don't agree with these laws. I don't think they should be there in the first place. But I'm not going to say to you, Mr. Joe Schmo, go break the law, sir, and then post about it on the internet with your face and name attached to the account. I'm not going to tell you to do that. Anyways, you guys know the drill. Have fun, be safe, stay dangerous. Peace.